What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update, fourth stimulus check update, and related news. First up, if you haven't gotten your third stimulus check yet, it's very likely that you will be receiving it in the mail as a paper check or debit card, even if you're set up for direct deposit. The only exception to this would be if you're from the VA. If you're in the VA, expect a direct deposit this upcoming Wednesday, the 14th. However, the IRS is likely sending them out today, just like the Social Security deposits that were last week. They sent them out last Friday. Some people got them immediately in their bank accounts and cleared, depending on the bank. Some of the banks that did that and cleared it right away were Chime Bank, NetSpend, MetaBank, Cash App, Green Dot, H&R Block, and TurboTax. If you're from the VA, you might be receiving a direct deposit this weekend starting today. The official payment date is for the 14th. The IRS Get My Payment tool will tell you this. If your date is for the 14th, you could get it this weekend especially if you're from one of those banks. If not, the official payment date is Wednesday the 14th. If you're not scheduled for the 14th, it's very likely that you're going to get it via a paper check or debit card. I've seen a lot of questions saying, Jimmy, my payment date was April 1st for my paper check or my debit card. What's going on? What's wrong? And honestly, this is normal. I'm seeing 7 to 10 days is about the average to the minimum of when to expect your stimulus check through the mail. And I don't know if it's a processing time. Maybe they print it out on the first, and then they got to put it in an envelope, and it has to go through the system, or if it's all the mail, United States Postal Service delay. But I really haven't seen many people say that they've gotten it in less than 7 days from their IRS Get My Payment tool date. So just keep that in mind. If you were April 1st, for example, I wouldn't expect it for April 7th. The most likely would be April 7th or 8th through the 10th, or possibly even later. So just to let you know, if you're in the mail, if you're a mail check or a debit card, don't expect to get it the day of or the day after the checks are shown the date on the IRS Get My Payment tool. We got lots more to cover. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on the fourth round of stimulus update videos, as there is a lot of different things on the horizon for the fourth round of stimulus that will be in this infrastructure / stimulus package before all is said and done. Bipartisan lawmakers are urging President Biden to send more vaccines to Michigan amid a large spike. And wow, I just noticed here, like, look at the ads that they're showing me here. A coffin, like really? Because I'm reading an article about vaccines and COVID, you show me an article, or you show me an ad for a coffin. I guess they're showing me other wood products here, but man, that's a little creepy to say the least. So yeah, we'll just start by closing that ad to begin with. But quote, the number of new coronavirus cases in Michigan has risen rapidly in recent weeks, which has placed growing stress on the state's public health infrastructure, wrote Republican Representative Fred Upton and Democrat Representative Debbie Dingell. An increase in vaccine allocation to the state will help save lives and effectively deal with this new outbreak. And if that first ad wasn't creepy enough, then I got this skeleton ad here about the truth of side sleepers. Man, I guess it's just one of those days. Also, if you've seen in the news, we had the Queen Elizabeth's husband died at age 99, and rapper DMX died from the 90s, mostly from the 90s. Both of them passed away today. So my condolences to them if their family's watching the show. If not, maybe you're upset a little bit because they are two pop media icons. I guess I could say that, right? Celebrity icons. Yeah. The White House made a statement today that they do plan to send additional staff to states that are needing the help desperately to help distribute vaccines. But we're a little bit hesitant on stating whether they're going to send additional allotted vaccines to states that are in need of more than their allotment. The Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine had a vaccine site close in Colorado after early adverse reactions to the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine. A COVID-19 vaccination site in Colorado closed early on Wednesday after patients experienced adverse reactions to Johnson & Johnson's one-shot vaccine. They said in a statement that 11 patients who received the vaccine experienced adverse reaction. Only 2 of the patients were taken to the hospital for further observation out of, quote, an abundance of caution. I do think it's actually a good thing that when we see even just small incidents like this with just a handful of people, they basically immediately stop it and make sure that nothing's like tainted or changed with the vials and the vaccine. So I do think they're doing a pretty decent job with administering this. And the reality of it is that the amount of people you see that like have very severe reactions or anything like that to the vaccine, it's a very, very, very small percentage of the people overall that have gotten the vaccine. We're now looking at tens of millions of Americans who have gotten the vaccine at this point. Pfizer has requested an emergency authorization to vaccinate with the Pfizer vaccine 12 to 15-year-olds as they have, begun testing weeks ago on children, and they're now requesting emergency authorization to begin the process to actually administer this to more than just the test groups. Another type of stimulus you can get is actually food assistance, where the government gives you money or has programs directly for food assistance. As you can see here, President Biden is about to send $1 billion more in food stamps to the 25 million neediest Americans. An estimated 25 million people will get a boost in their food stamp benefits starting this month, the Biden administration announced Thursday evening. These Americans, who are among the lowest income food stamp recipients, were left out of a benefit increase last year because of how the Trump administration implemented an early federal coronavirus relief provision. The Biden administration has changed the guidance so households that had not received an increase of at least $95 per month in benefits through the emergency allotments will be eligible to get a boost from the SNAP program. This move stems from an executive order that President Joe Biden issued just after taking office and will add about $1 billion in benefits distributed each month. Quote, people will have a greater opportunity to afford the basics that they need. Remember, included in the third stimulus check package is an increase and an extension of SNAP and WIC benefits, which is basically food stamps nowadays, but it's all done through debit cards and stuff like that. But basically, if you're not on this and you think you might qualify lower to middle income, all you need to do is just Google SNAP benefits for your state and just go and apply and see, because it just might mean it extras hundreds of dollars every single month. Well, depending on your family size and your cost of a living area. But obviously, if you're one person, it's going to be less than if you're 4 people. But my advice would be go ahead and apply if you think you might qualify, because it's just another type of stimulus program where the government provides money for the people for food. The push for a fourth stimulus check in the infrastructure package, which the Democrats are likely going to pass through the reconciliation process, which basically means that the Democrats are able to include a stimulus check in this next package. And all they have to do is negotiate amongst themselves, because they likely will not get any Republican support at all. Well, the push for the fourth stimulus check is actually heating up. And a lot of Democrats in power are starting to push and say we need to make this actual infrastructure package larger, possibly, or at bare minimum, it needs to be on the larger side of the $4 trillion. There's a lot of reports going around that only 6% of the money from the infrastructure package that has been announced already is for infrastructure. And I have to look into this, but my initial thoughts are I have to go in there and do some math, or find some more deep dive information before I get too deep into it with you. But my initial thoughts are that it's propaganda and it's likely very wrong, okay? And here's why. I remember when we go back to the third stimulus check package that a lot of people are just getting the money now. I remember that a lot of people were saying that only 9% of the money went towards combating the virus in the third stimulus check package, and that everything else was fluff, or everything else was pork. And that is so, so, so not true. If you've been watching this show, you likely already know this is the case. That 9% of money from the third stimulus check was money directly to combat COVID. Okay. That didn't include the money for your stimulus checks, rental assistance, property tax assistance, utility assistance, the money for SNAP programs and WIC programs, the money for unemployment. It didn't include your stimulus check. It didn't include, that's just the money that was being used for to combat the virus, vaccines and distribution, basically, and money to pay people to distribute it. Okay. So you have to be very, very careful. That's why I always like to show you guys both sides of the coin, both sides of the card, because whenever I see those, and again, I'll look into that here in the next 24 hours or so. Whenever I see things thrown out like that, I always know that they're probably just showing you one side of the card, and that's not really the whole case. And that's why when that story came out that only 9% of the money from the third stimulus check package was for combating the virus, and I just seen everybody saying, "Oh my God, they're all this money is wasted pork," and I tried to address it, but I can only address so many people. If I only I could speak to the whole country, yeah, that didn't include any of the money for you guys. So that 9% didn't include the stimulus check, didn't include the unemployment stimulus checks, the money for food, and all the other programs that were in there. So if they only spent the money on that 9%, then you wouldn't have gotten a third stimulus check or any of the other programs, the child income tax credits that are going to be coming out, $3,000 to $3,600 per child, the adult earned income tax credit expansion. None of that money would have been included. So when I see that only 6% is going to infrastructure, physical infrastructure, I already think that that's blown out of proportion. But I'll look into it and let you know. But kind of the counter side to that is, if only 6% was going to physical infrastructure, which I already highly doubt, the good news is all that other money is going to other programs like stimulus, okay? And by the time all is said and done in here, I do expect a fourth stimulus check. If not a recurring stimulus check, I do expect at least one more stimulus check in here for all the different reasons we've talked about on this channel. And a lot of Democrats are pushing for a larger infrastructure package. Larger package means more money for other things such as stimulus checks, unemployment, child tax credits, adult tax credits, rental assistance, food assistance, all those different things. Here is House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on the need for a larger infrastructure package.
The president has spoken very eloquently to this point, that he's there to listen to what suggestions people may have. But it can't be too small, because what we're talking about now needs to be transformative, and it has to be big. I myself think we have to start with what this country needs. This country needs a major infrastructure plan, jobs bill that enables everyone to participate in how we build back better. And then at that point, then we'll find out how much money we need. I think what the president has proposed is probably appropriate, as we have some in our party who are saying it's not big enough, and we have others. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Senator Manchin saying that it was too big. I mean, I'm not up to date on his latest statement there, Manu, but I do know that what President put forth is what is needed. We need the roads and bridges. The American Society of Civil Engineers says we're trillions of dollars behind. And I say that the most expensive maintenance is no maintenance. And that can cause danger to bridges and the rest. So we need to do what we need to do, but we also have to define infrastructure more broadly than roads and mass transit. We've got broadband now. We have water systems that are 100 years old or more, wood and brick, lead in the water. We've got to fix that. And we've got to fix our school systems. We tell children that education is so important to them, to their own personal aspirations. to their community, to their families, to the competitiveness of America, and yet we send them to schools that are not even wired for the future, that are very substandard. That's a mixed message. Just if it's important, then make it important. Housing, we need much more in terms of housing stock in our country, and again, to have it be housing that is respectful of the needs of the people who would live there, especially, as I always say, for the children. So we have big needs. I'm myself would rather just talk about what the needs are. Where do we find our common ground to go forward? Hopefully we can do so in a very strong bipartisan way, and then we'll talk about how we pay for it. But I don't think we start with the money and say our needs only are related to how little we're willing to spend. No, our needs relate to the needs of our country. As President Eisenhower did, it was a national security initiative, and the economy was not good at that time, but he courageously put forth the interstate highway system to unify the country for security purposes, as well as being a great job creator.
And remember that the Senate parliamentarian ruled this time that the Democrats can use the budget reconciliation process for the infrastructure slash stimulus package. In fact, she ruled that they can use it two more times this fiscal year. And then next year, actually starting in the fiscal year, which would be October, they can actually start using the reconciliation process again. And Chuck Schumer says that they can actually go back and amend reconciliation bills that have been passed with the reconciliation process and amend them to change them again or add more money to them. And then they actually can get rid of the filibuster in the future. And the filibuster is the rule that requires them to get 60 votes in the Senate. So I think the filibuster will be pushed off a little bit because basically they're going to be able to pass several more bills with just the 50 to 51 votes that the Democrats have in the Senate. So they can pass several more bills right now. They don't have to wait until later in the year or anything you've heard like that is either fake news or somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. But the Senate parliamentarian ruled that they can use it two more times this year, this fiscal year. And remember, the Senate parliamentarian ruled against them, against the Democrats, for the $15 an hour minimum wage provision to be put in that third stimulus check package. But this time she ruled for the Democrats, so they can pass two more bills or two more packages with the reconciliation process. Then they get more for the fiscal year next year. Then they can go back and amend bills. There's a special provision that Chuck Schumer says that they can go back and amend bills, which basically means you can add more money to them, add more stimulus checks to them. So really, they don't even need to get rid of the filibuster until way down the road when they've used up all these different reconciliation processes that they can use to pass this next infrastructure slash stimulus package bill. And I do think that when all is said and done, remember, the second half of the bill is, and Biden and Bernie Sanders have said this, that the second half is focusing on human infrastructure. The first half focuses on physical infrastructure, even though there's a lot of things in there that really don't focus on physical infrastructure, but they're close, they're related. But the second half of the bill focuses on human infrastructure. We don't know yet if they're going to try to pass these bills as two separate bills or all as one. I personally think, and this is really just a guess, that when all is said and done, I think they're going to combine the bills and just use one reconciliation process. Just use one card because if they're going to pass it without Republican support and they're going to use the reconciliation process, you really should just combine the two bills and use one reconciliation card and not have to use two. But it really just depends on the best way to pass it when the time comes. They'll probably have to negotiate within themselves with Joe Manchin and maybe some other Democrats. You know Joe Manchin, being a Manchin, right? He's always he's finicky. He's like, oh, I don't want a 28% corporate tax, but I'm willing to do a 25% corporate tax. I don't think it ever should have been below 25. And I'm like thinking 25, 28. There's a very small difference there. I mean, yeah, I know it's 3%, but he's just picking this number out of the air. So he likes to be a difficult one. He likes to be in the spotlight. But when all is said and done, he did vote with the Democrats for the third stimulus check and the third stimulus check package, the entire thing. And that's likely what will happen at the end when they go to pass the infrastructure and the slash stimulus package, the fourth round of stimulus. There's a lot of different things on the horizon: student loan forgiveness, Social Security raises, uh, home buyer tax credits for just regular people, the expansion of the child tax credit for more years. There's so many different things on the horizon for the fourth round of stimulus. So I will keep you up to date with all of them. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. And then after subscribing, click the bell icon that appears to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live with new videos, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got to remember on the 11 p.m. Eastern, you won't get a notification. You just got to remember to show up on YouTube at 11 p.m. Eastern and find my channel. Type in "It's Jimmy" in the search bar if you have to, and catch you then. Which my next video is at 11 p.m. Eastern time tonight, so don't miss that. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I've had dozens of students that have replaced their 9 to 5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.